Joining us for the rest of the hour, we'll take calls coming up in about 25, 30 minutes. 800-259-9231 is Rosa Corey. ASA is the executive director of the Post-Sustainability Institute. She's a commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain valuation. That's how she learned it was Agenda 21. Her nearly 30 years of expert witness analyzing land use and property value in her position as San Francisco District Branch Chief of the California Department of Transportation enabled her to recognize the planning revolution sweeping the country. She was on the inside and saw it. While fighting to stop a huge redevelopment project in her city, she researched the corporate, political, financial interests behind it and found UN Agenda 21 impacting every aspect of our lives. UN Agenda 21, sustainable development, is a corporate manipulation using green mask of environmental concern to forward a globalist plan. Rosa speaks across the nation, including recently at the International Conference of Global Governance that included President Václav Klaus of the Czech Republic, Prime Minister John Howard of Australia. She's a regular blogger on her website, DemocratsAgainstUNAgenda21.com. Good to see it's bipartisan. Her new book, Behind the Green Mask, Agenda 21, is available at Infowars.com and on her site. Okay, we go to her now. Intro there. What is Agenda 21 for new listeners? Why is it important? And what are the new big developments? I mean, is it safe to say the battle is joined right now, Rosa?
You said it. I'm actually coming back from an East Coast tour, and I want you to know that the resistance is in gear and people are out there fighting all over the United States and across the world. So this is a very engaged fight, and we are going to win this. For people who don't know what Agenda 21 is, it's not what is Agenda 21, it's almost what isn't. And you're going to look long and hard to find anything now that isn't Agenda 21. It is the blueprint. It is the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all plants, all minerals, all construction, all animals, all means of production, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. It is a completely comprehensive plan. It's global, and it's implemented locally. And that is where you're going to see it in your town, right there in your town. It is in every single town all across the United States and the world right now.
Well said. And now we're getting the announcements. They're going to tear up the old roads, shut down the countryside. Folks think they're going to run to the countryside and escape the Agenda 21 takeover. Explain what's really happening there.
Unfortunately, there really is nowhere to go. People come up to me after my speeches and they go, "Hey, Rosa, so where's the good place to go?" And I'm like, nowhere. You have to stay right where you are and fight it in your town, because there is no Switzerland in this war. This is a global governance plan, and there is nowhere to go. So what you have to do is recognize it, because it doesn't come with flashing lights, and it's not called Agenda 21. That's how they can say that, oh, you're kind of crazy or a tinfoil hat when you bring it up. But the fact is, what it looks like in your town is your roads being pulverized in your suburban and rural areas. It looks like the closure of post offices and schools out in the rural areas. It looks like your comprehensive or master plan, Vision 2020, Vision 2035, Our Town 2050. That's what it looks like. It looks like smart meters. It looks like smart water, gas, and electric meters. It looks like well monitoring. It looks like closure of roads that go into your rural and wild forest lands. It looks like you not being able to get out into the countryside anymore. And it looks like high-density urban development paid for with your tax dollars right there in the center of your town. This is a global governance plan. It is designed to create a parallel government that is actually going to destroy your opportunity to have any impact at all on what goes on in your government. This is a takeover. It's a totalitarian takeover, and it is happening right now in your town.
And there you were working inside as the district branch chief of the California Department of Transportation. That's how you were first able to recognize this yourself from the inside. But, you know, you're a Democrat. You're somebody who's liberal on many issues. I like that fact, because this isn't about Republican, Democrat, where certain groups own certain areas. And I love how these so-called democratic institutions always say there's no global governance, there's no world government, there's no corporatist takeover, it's code for race or all this stuff. When the banks are publicly writing this, admitting this is their takeover plan, and then Democrats hear it and they automatically won't respond. I mean, a lot of Republicans won't because, oh, that's that crazy stuff, when it's really what's happening. It has nothing to do with Republican, Democrat, or, stuff like that. In fact, I saw an article, saying Democrat lesbian feminist draws cheers at Tea Party. When a Democrat lesbian feminist receives wild applause at Tea Party meeting, talking about you, something newsworthy must be happening, speaking to a packed crowd. Look, it isn't about what somebody does in their bedroom. It's about a global corporate takeover of America.
That's exactly right. We have to break that right-left gang mentality because we're really being manipulated. This is not, I'm a Democrat. I've actually been attacked and vilified by Democrats and by Democratic central committees around the United States. The fact is, what are they going to do? Purge me from the party and burn my party card just because I'm questioning what's going on? Because unfortunately, this is being accepted a lot by the left. But it's partly because they don't understand that when they're looking at globalization, when they're looking at WTO, GMO, food independence, grade, university debt, school debt, degree inflation, the 1%, domestic surveillance, fusion centers, endless war. This is all Agenda 21.
That's right. Stay there. It's a corporate agenda that transcends party, all of this stuff. This is attacking everyone. We'll be right back with Rosa Corey. Stay with us. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. And who writes Agenda 21? Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan. Same folks caught. Barclays CEO quits after caught working in the U.S. and Europe and England fixing interest rates, so they had an unfair trade advantage. CEO of MF Global caught robbing people. And you go look at who funds Agenda 21 and who funds all this. It's the banks. They're the global government. They're it. They're it. And it's weird. You got the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL, CNN, Nightline, all saying I'm evil because I say banks run the New World Order and that it's code for racism, and we're not even talking about race here. And then separately, every financial publication is saying world government's here. Thank God the bankers took over. And the articles even laugh and giggle and say, yeah, they took us over. They manipulated us. Isn't it cute? So it's like this weird world where it doesn't exist, but it does exist. And then Agenda 21 is designed, in Maurice Strong and the UN's own words, to shut down society. And I'm supposed to be happy about that. NAFTA and GATT and all of this was meant to destroy us and render us down to slaves. They don't want us uppity. They don't want us consuming. If you go to Whole Foods, there's all these magazines about, the post-industrial and how chic it is to be poor and austerity and how sexy it is. Let's go back to our guest, author and researcher, Rosa Corey. Rosa, what is life under Agenda 21? This is a short segment, long segment coming up, but what will it do? I mean, what are the greatest hits of Agenda 21?
Well, you know what? You're seeing it right now because it's not something out there in the distance. It is happening right now in your town. So are you out of work? Are you feeling like you can't afford to pay your utility bills now? Are you being told that your utility costs are going to be going up like 7 or 9% a year, even though you've been conserving and restricting your use? This is what it looks like. It's going to look more and more. This is the new poverty, right? It's the new frugality. That's what the American Planning Association calls it. And it's supposed to be a good thing, that you don't really need that. We're redefining progress. And then what that means is that you're going to be out of work, you're going to be struggling, You were talking about Australia earlier. Queensland, which is a state in Australia, has now made it so that if you're living in public housing and, government subsidized housing and your apartment is too big for you, you're going to either have to get out of there or take in people that are going to be quartered with you, like the military. I mean, we are talking about a loss of your ability to control your own life. And that's what it looks like under Agenda 21, because you really, truly are seeing your property tax and transportation tax dollars used to restrict your use of your land and used to take away private property rights, restrict you for where you're going to be able to live, what you're going to be able to eat, because you're going to be living in a transit village with a food shed ringing it. And if there's not enough calories that are being produced by that food shed, you're not going to be able to get food from anywhere else. So that means you're going to be reducing your caloric intake. We are talking about major restrictions, and they are coming your way right now. You're seeing them right now. And of course, this is bank pushed. B of A, Bank of America, is a very big player in this. You'll find huge corporations. It's a mega corporation takeover. Totalitarian. It's a fascist state. Globalization is a totalitarian takeover by corporations mixing in with non-governmental organizations and governments so that you have no way of knowing what's going on.
Amazing. Stay there. I'm going to give you the floor when we come back for about 10 minutes before calls, just to cover whatever issues are front and center on your radar, because you're focused on this, and also to give us the pulse of the public out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another powerful film we have available at InfoWarsShop.com, The Greater Good, breaking down the incredible dangers of vaccines and Big Pharma mandating hundreds of new vaccines they want to make you take. And, of course, Behind the Green Mask, InfoWars Shop. They created Al-Qaeda. They funded radical Muslims, and that's the boogeyman of all those countries the globalists are invading that we're told to be scared of, and that's why the checkpoints are everywhere that, the internal training manuals say are for us. People that are anti-UN, anti-world government. Agenda 21, they tell the cops that's a code word. If you hear that, that's a cop killer term. Or if you hear somebody talk about posse comitatus, that's a cop killer term. We've shown you the training manuals here on air. So the cop doesn't know what Agenda 21 is. They just hear that and they go, you want to kill me. This is how they manipulate everybody. So that as they take over, people have already been demonized that are smart enough to know what's coming. But again, what does the UN say? What does Maurice Strong say? What do they all say? Economies are too big. Their job is to shut them down. This is the new economy, where they all live in lavish palaces, though. Remember, you live like a slave. Rosa Koire is a researcher and developer, and she also worked in the state government at the highest levels when she discovered this was going on. I've been talking about it since the mid-1990s. A lot of people have, but nobody knew what it was. Now, because it's really coming into effect, people are getting upset. So Rosa, author of Behind the Green Mask book, Agenda 21, break down other facets, where it's being implemented, examples, and the type of awakening you're seeing, other areas people should be made aware of. The big UN conference they just had down in Brazil. Rosa Koire.
Wow, well, that's saying a lot. There's a lot to talk about here, and I want people to know that this is war, that there is an occupying force across the world that has taken us over. And we are waking up. There's a tremendous resistance all across the world. And I want you to know that you are not alone. People are taking over and dominating government meetings now. They are going in, we are going in as groups, as coalitions of groups that you would never see ordinarily. Groups of people on the left and the right who are laying aside their petty differences and taking back our sovereignty all across the world. I was speaking at an international global governance conference, and one of the other speakers was President Václav Klaus of the Czech Republic. And he said to me, you know what, we fought to get our independence from the Soviet Union. And now we are under the thrall of Brussels. We are under control of the EU. We have lost our sovereignty. We don't want that here in the United States. We want to encourage all people who want to be free to be free. So here's what happens. This is a global plan implemented locally. What you want to do is take back your government. This is a regional government that is being imposed through planning. They are telling you that if you want to be able to compete regionally in an economic sense, that you have to join with other cities, counties, and states, and you have to erase your jurisdictional boundaries. This is a lie. This is a way to take control of your government by mega corporations and non-profit, non-governmental groups that will then control what happens locally by using money. They use federal dollars, and you know this was a plan that came down, top down, through the President's Council on Sustainable Development, right into every federal agency in the United States back in 1993. And they all changed their policies, their administrative policies, and they are using money. They're using grants, and they're using restrictions on transportation dollars to control what happens in your town. So if your town wants any of that money, they're going to have to play ball. And that means build smart growth. And smart growth is your future hardscape for your poverty. This is high-density urban development with no possibility for you to move freely or determine where you're going to live and work. So what you want to do is fight this. Fight it together with everyone you can get. So what you want to do, go down to those meetings where they say, come on down to your Vision 2035 plan meeting, or come on down to your Scenic Byway meeting. We want to see what you think. Because the truth is, they don't want to know what you think. They merely want to give the impression that they're getting your opinion so that they can impose these restrictions on you and say that it was your plan. That is a lie. What you want to do is go down there and take over those meetings. You can do it. You want to recall elected officials who are on those regional boards. These are metropolitan planning organizations and councils of government. You want to get rid of those groups. You want to go down, recall those people. You want to do it in a group. It's very easy to recall an elected official. You can do it. Put that in with your town, recall, and then your city or county, and see what comes up. There's forms online that you can use. You can use our flyers to let people know what ICLEI is. You want to raise awareness. Awareness is the first step in the resistance. Action is the second step. We are fighting back all across the United States and all across the world. And here's the way it looks. It looks like people going down to government meetings where the government has called in men with guns to line the room, and those are police officers. They also are listening to you. They will hear what is going on. You want to speak the truth, take your 3 minutes, stand up and say, we want to kick ICLEI out. We do not want regional government. We do not want to use our property tax and transportation tax dollars to actually create our own poverty. You are using our tax dollars to sink our economy with high-cost trains, high-speed trains to nowhere. They're just sinking our dollars. What they're doing is using endless war to use up our resources and restrict our ability to be independent. This is a plan to create total dependence on government so that you are not able to speak out because you have no voice. We don't want to allow it to get to that point. There are no heroes, no one on the sidelines. Everyone out and fight this plan. You can't wait for someone else to do it for you. This is it. If you're on the left, join in with everyone else. This has been a hijacking of the environmental movement. You are being used. There is no truth in the green movement. It is a way to take your money and manipulate you and restrict your ability to live free. Do not fall for these plans. They are simply designed to use jargon to manipulate you and use mind control techniques like the Delphi technique to convince you that this is all a good thing. It is not. It is a way to take over your ability to have an independent voice in your government. So you will find that you are going to be jailed. You will be living in a literal prison. You will not be able to travel freely. You will not be able to work where you wish. You will not be able to speak freely. You will find that your ability to be independent is severely restricted. For instance, in the town next to mine, it's against the law to smoke in your apartment. My county is making it against the law to smoke in your apartment. Obesity will be a crime. More and more things will be crimes, and they will be selectively enforced. This is the way that they take over. This is what it looks like. People who have not lived through a totalitarian takeover do not understand that they're not going to roll through your street with tanks. They don't have to. They're doing it without guns and without tanks. They're taking it, making it, they're misidentifying wetlands. They're restricting your use out there in the rural areas. They're putting more and more restrictions on what you can do out in the Catskills, out in the desert areas, out in Florida, and they are releasing wild carnivores into the wild. They're restricting your ability to use your water. They're using smart meters, smart gas, electric, and water meters, and this is what it looks like. This is what a takeover from the inside looks like. You can fight it. Join the resistance. We're all over the nation, all over the world, and we are fighting now, and we will win this. We are winning now. This is what winning looks like. When they start calling you a tinfoil hat and smearing you in the press, that's when you know you're winning, because they don't come after you unless you have the ball. And we have the ball now. Alabama has passed SB 477, which is the Property Rights Due Process Act, which says that no law can be made that imposes Agenda 21 in the state of Alabama, and that no money can go to ICLEI or any other nonprofit organization that is imposing Agenda 21 on the people of the state of Alabama. Let's make these laws come all the way across the United States. Yes, they'll be litigated, but we will be there supporting. We want to fight back, and we can do it. We will win this.
Rosa Koire, she is the author of Behind the Green Mask, Agenda 21. And as you notice, she's pointed and focused like a laser beam. Her book is as well. Get it out to everyone you know, because this is so outrageous what they're doing. I've been to smart growth conferences, and they admit it's about money and power grabs, and they admit that the insiders are exempt. I mean, I've watched Austin, which is one of the worst places in the country. It's a wonderful place to live, but we've allowed these fake liberals to take over, and they've also got the fake conservatives up there with them, and they will go and take a family's 5,000-acre ranch that they've had for 100 years. I have these people on the show, and take it and pay them maybe 5 cents on the dollar. They waited 6-7 years, took the restrictions off, and the city said, oh, it's not going to be a preserve now. It's going to be malls and high-density living. But it's okay because we're making it high-density living. The point is they stole the land. And all over the country, they are coming in and saying, we're going to bulldoze your neighborhood on this lake. It's for the earth. And then turning around and turning it into a high-rise development. And they know it. It's not like your city council in most cases of a big city is unconscious. They are financed, normally realtors, normally developers. And then they call themselves environmentalists, and all they're going to do is steal your land. And they hire these green cops who don't care about GMO or toxic waste dumping or University of Texas burying toxic waste on the edge of Austin. No. Real issues like Fukushima are no bit. Overfishing, not a problem. It's all about home inspectors in your face, taking over your life. Department of Defense over the rural commission now. It's all about spying on you. It is pure authoritarianism, just as you said, Rosa. Conscious, systematic takeover using fines and fees to bankrupt you. I mean, I know you see the reports of the lemonade stands, the Amish, the people selling, pumpkins on the side of the road getting arrested. And even Forbes asked a few months ago, what's the war about on the Amish or on the lemonade stands? And they've said, we don't want you using cash for garage sales. We're going to shut those down. It's happening, just like what we've seen with healthcare, written by the insurance companies, coming in and making you buy it so the insurance companies can now control the care, but claiming it's socialism when it's something completely different.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has to remember, this is an inventory and control plan. So when you find out that, for instance, they're inventorying every single tree in the state of New Hampshire, if anyone's ever flown over New Hampshire, that's all they've got there is trees. The idea that this is a micro plan where they go, when we're talking about drones, domestic surveillance, National Defense Authorization Act, USA Patriot Act, we're talking about control of us and every single thing on this planet. And in order to control, you have to inventory. And we are in the inventory phase right now, primarily, although we're moving into control. And that's why people are beginning to recognize that something is really happening. Because when you go, when you're trying to get a permit to build on your property, and you find out, for instance, that you have a wetland there that you had no idea was there, and you're going to have to pay a $37,000 fine every day because of that supposed wetland. You know, that's what happened to the Sackett family of Idaho. And they fought. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. Your federal government fought them all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where they won. But what did they win? The right to challenge the EPA. So, you know, we are in a situation now where every single person is beginning to feel the pinch, where we're all feeling as if we are under scrutiny. We're noticing that, for instance, if you don't mow your lawn, it's a misdemeanor. You're finding that there are more and more things that are crime, more and more things that you can be held accountable for. And what that means is there are going to be more and more people who will go along to get along, either because they are forced to, because they want to be the good guy, pat on the back, little, you know, insider toady shill with the government, or somebody who just, you know, is too stupid to recognize that they shouldn't be enforcing.
Or they're making money off of it. I want to go to calls.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk about that. There are a lot of people. You know, there are partners. Your government is partnering with nonprofits and corporations. Your government, the EPA, is in 501c3 charitable organizations, literally a partner with, for instance, the American Planning Association, a private corporation, with ICLEI, with the American Farmland Trust, with Walmart, with special interest groups, and you are paying for this. And you are unable to make an impact unless you take this over. We have been asleep too long.
Look, it's very simple. I've seen the cases all over the country where the feds just show up and say, you've had Gore seafood on the South Texas coast for 70 years. We just say you can't have it anymore. We're taking it. No money. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's getting so brazen now where these mega corporations just want to take whatever they want through government. And the crimes are just mounting. I want to go to some phone calls, but I also wanted to talk about some of the horror stories that you've been witnessing as of late. But let's go to a call here. Let's talk to Chris in Texas. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, a quick question. I was just wondering if you ever touched on the subject about Capitis Maximus. I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
So you have a question on Agenda 21?
Yes, Agenda 21 is Capitis Damnatio Maxima. It's where, if you look at your driver's license, that your name is all in capital letters. I was just wondering if the Fed...
Look, what they do is they just administratively, outside of law, we had a congresswoman on last segment, just do whatever they want. It's called tyranny. There's not a lot to all that UCC all-cap stuff. I mean, you magically put another name on your driver's license. They don't care. But I appreciate your call, sir. Let's go to Nate in California. You're on the air with our guest. Go ahead.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
I think everything is really atrocious. I'd like to thank your guest for pointing all this stuff out. I really kind of worry about the clamp down on everything. I really kind of imagine that I kind of foresee that eventually they'll probably start finding people because they're going to go through the trash. They're recycling all the trash that goes to the dump. And I can only imagine that they'll be able to take your name and address and then cross-reference it with, like, the last 4 digits on your on a receipt from a debit card or something like that.
No, sir, what they have is they have RFID readers that read everything they're putting in all the new products. It's already in England. It's already going into Miami. And then they will fine you thousands of dollars per item and just keep raising the prices. I appreciate your call. We're going to come back and get Rose's take on that. But that's a big part of it, is that they're going to charge you more for water, more for less, not because there's not water. The combines are buying it all up. They're going to charge you more for energy because they're going to shut down all their competition and then make General Electric exempt. That's why General Electric funds all this. It's a monopoly. It's mafia government. But instead of the mafia saying, hey, you're not allowed to have a grocery store, they just say, oh, it's for the earth. Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. Paratroopers were landing in Montana or Texas like Red Dawn. People would go grab their guns and then go fight them. But if corporate interests come in and over time take over your government and get big government contracts as they gain more power, then you don't know how to respond to it because they've got everybody working for them because they're like body snatchers. It's like The Thing. It comes in and is a facsimile that it's from here, but it's not. But this is a takeover, and they brag like you're idiots in just every publication they put out. Ha ha, our corporate government's taking over. No one's resisting us. Ha ha. And the caller was bringing up their plan to want to kill people. And then I was, bringing up to our guests, some of the examples of the horror stories. But Rosa Koire, that is the rest of the story. Agenda 21 admits in the UN documents, as you know, they want an 80 to 90% world population reduction. So, yes, that is the plan. That's why they're teaching us that we're garbage, that humans are scum through the fake environmental movement.
This is one thing I say, which is really a tough thing to say, and that is that the Nazis did not really lose, because what we're seeing is the re-erection of that kind of government, that kind of philosophy, that kind of all for the common good. That is communitarianism. And what we're seeing, especially Siemens Corporation, which was a German corporation about to go bankrupt before Hitler generously supplied them with slave labor from the concentration camps, Siemens pushes Agenda 21 big time. Sustainable community strategies, they give awards, they give grants. We're talking about IBM. They also collaborated with the enemy during World War II. They made it possible for the Germans to be able to know who was in the camp.
IBM invented computers for race mixing studies.
Yes, and all those punch cards and the computers that the Germans had came from a wholly owned subsidiary of IBM there in Germany. Also GE, which also collaborated with the enemy during World War II. And GE makes huge, these are the companies that are really pushing Agenda 21.
Because they're exempt from the carbon taxes. Obama signed it. Let's jam in a call. David in California, you're on the air. Do you have a question for the guest?
I do have a question. I was at our city council last night.
Good.
One of the corporations that they're building the stack and pack housing, they actually appointed the director of it to our planning commission. Only 2 people in the city showed up to contest it. I moved from Los Angeles, Lancaster, California. I was running away from this stuff. They're stealing land left or right, and the control grid is already in place there. They also went over the plans of the new security systems downtown. My question is, how do you stand up to these people just by yourself?
Well, they're total criminals, but go ahead.
It's tough. You can do it, though, and you are doing it. You went. You were there. Now, here's what you do next. You get out, go to your computer, and you make up a flyer. We've got flyer examples on our website, which is Democrats Against UN, agenda21.com, and also in my book. If you want to make up flyers, I know this sounds like it's not going to work.
No, it works. Listen, you battle, then more people will join you, and then you go into the next phase.
Yes, and you want to raise awareness. This is what your job is now. You are in the resistance. Your job is to bring awareness out there to your town. Get a flyer out there, make it look official, notice this is going on in our town. Get out there, put those flyers on doorsteps, get more and more people to go to those meetings. You want to bring them down by telling them that we will not stand.
And by the way, we're beating them all over the place if we'll just resist them, because it's so, just like he said, the head of the local building operation that's getting taxpayer money is putting their people on the board. I mean, that's all. It's, look, conflict of interest, all of this, defeat them.
You want to expose the collaborators.
I like your nomenclature. That's it. You are the resistance. Expose the collaborators. Incredible. I tell you, I'm sorry to all the other callers. We'll have to have you back up very soon. This hour has now elapsed. Thank you, Rosa Corey. The book available at InfoWarsShop.com. Get it. Get it out to everybody in your area. Expose the collaborators. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?